As he will close us out with his final remarks, he will start us off with his opening remarks. So, ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Tom Swain, Permanent Professor at Head, the Department of Military and Strategic Studies. Sir, over to you.
Hey, welcome everybody. It is so great to have you all here. All the parents, the family, the friends. We really appreciate you taking time out of what is a very full day. We understand that. Appreciate you here. I know you hear a lot from your cadets, what their day was, what they're worried about, what exam they're stressing over. And I want to put things into perspective a little bit about what our department and the Military and Strategic Studies major in particular does for our cadets, for our nation, for our Air Force and Space Force. You all are a unique class. You all are the ones that really carried the water through COVID. You were the ones who largely, through your public marketing, sold this major and have resulted in a dramatic increase in the number of military and strategic majors that we have. There was a time 7-8 years ago when we had maybe about 30 academic majors in our department, and we're pushing up through 270 now. And that is largely due to you and the messaging that you take out there in the streets. And it's not a hard sell. I make a point of going to all of our core Joint Air Power and Space Power course. That's the class, like a gen ed class that every sophomore here has to take. And I give a little welcome speech. And one of the analogies I use is how the Academy sells itself as the premier air power and space power institution. And I use a culinary arts institution analogy. And so I ask a cadet, like, imagine yourself, you want to be the world's master chef. And you go off to New York City to do a 4-year program at the greatest culinary arts institution in the world. And as you get close to graduation, you come home, Thanksgiving or the holidays, and your parents ask you how you have enjoyed the world's greatest culinary arts institution. You say, well, Mom, I know you spent a lot of money, and it's the funniest thing. 4 years of learning about food and restaurants and public safety. We've only had one cooking class. And your parents would say, that's crazy talk. You're at the world's greatest culinary arts institution. How could you only have one cooking class? And for the majority of cadets here at this institution, that's what they get in terms of air power and space power. They get one core class about what they're actually going to be doing in their profession. I always finish that story up by saying, for those of you that choose military and strategic studies, you're going to get a lot of cooking classes. You're going to become the master chef. And for the next, depending on when you declare your major, 3 years, we immerse you in learning about air power and space power, the context, theory, and application of strategic, operational, and tactical warfare. We talk a lot about warfighter scholars at this institution, and people tend to picture those as opposite ends of the spectrum. And they tend to picture scholars as living here in faculty in DF, and they tend to picture warfighters as living over on the commandant side in CW. But it's much more complex than that. And the military and strategic studies majors absolutely understand that. You, more than any of your cadet peers, understand how those two are really opposite sides of the same coin. The Air Force Academy is here to produce warfighters for the nation. It's really important, and it's our institutional mission, to produce officers of character. And I've shared this story with the dean, but in 1950, 49, 52, as they were finalizing plans for the Air Force Academy, what did not happen is a batch of politicians and voters sitting around saying, we need a very expensive institution that builds people with character. What they said is the Russians are scary, they have atomic weapons, and we need people to fight our air war for us. We need a place to teach them. That's where the Air Force Academy got its roots. Along the way, what we've learned is that officers of character do that exceptionally well. They make the ethical, moral, and the hard decisions to go out to work the weapon systems and the programs and to lead people. But the bottom line is that this institution and the purpose of you being here is to go out and produce effects for our nation and our allies against our adversaries. In our department, we talk about the context and the theory and the application of military power. Context being the history, being the infrastructure, being the guidance, being, I'll say it, the doctrine about how we do air and space power. You need to understand what the box is and looks like before you get to the point of exploring what's outside of that. And we touch that early on in many of our classes. We talk about theory, we talk about Clausewitz, we talk about Jomini, we talk about a lot of folks who contributed to this discipline of military and strategic studies. And unlike any of your sister service academy peers, we talk about the application, the contemporary and future application of military power. Navy doesn't do that. Army doesn't do that. They give you the history, they give you the background, and they say you'll get the rest of that stuff when you're a lieutenant. Here we think it's really, really important that you hit the street and understand how those pieces move and fit together. As I was driving in today, I was thinking about the type of remarks I wanted to make, and it occurred to me that of the roughly 27 to 30 different academic majors we have here, this is the only major that deals with preparing you to deal with an adversary. So think about that for a second. Think about all of your cadet peers and all the amazing stuff they're studying. Really challenging, hard stuff. They're exploring, it is an endeavor to explore a universe of unknowns. But they don't deal with adversaries. They don't have a calculus problem that's fighting back against them. It can be hard, but there's one right way to figure out the calculus problem. Physics is hard, chemistry is hard. There are a lot of unknowns, but you, and what we've learned here with you, deals with an adversary, someone or an entity or a group of individuals that are trying to conceal their intentions and are intentionally trying to defeat you and make your life hard, if not make you dead. And that makes our department, what we learn here, incredibly unique. And the fact that 70% roughly of you are going to go out into operations career fields where you are about a year, maybe 2 years out from being in charge of dozens, if not hundreds of people, having your fingers on triggers of multi-million-dollar weapon systems, unlike any other institution of higher learning anywhere. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you to you all for choosing this major. Thank you to you, our graduates, for having the foresight to understand the application and the significance that this is going to have in your profession. And thank you especially to the parents that got them here and supported them on their way. Thank you in advance of all the wonderful things you're going to do for us. And with that, I will turn it over to our good friend, Cadet Hannes.
Happy Friday, everyone. My name is Jake, and I'm not going to stand up here with a tailored jacket over my biceps like Dr. Bird. But I'll attempt to give you this isn't working, is it? I'm going to give you a bit of an unpolished look into the MSS major, the 23ers, myself, that type of thing. So, oh, here, boy. I've prepared for this about as much as I prepare for a usual MSS class, so bear with me. Anyways, so basically a little bit about how I found MSS. I wanted to come here since I was 8, and I know that's a little weird. I only applied here, and when I was in high school, I decided that I was going to be an aeronautical engineer for some reason. I thought that that is how I was going to fly jets, was that I was going to learn how jets work. Well, I go through high school, apply to here, don't get in, go to a Falcon Scholar prep school, and decide there that I want to major in political science because I'm 17 and reading the news and saying, oh, this stuff's cool, I want to major in this. Also, people are saying poli-sci to fly, so I think, well, now that's the new opportunity and that's how I fly. Prep school rolls around, I come here, hear horrible things about poli-sci, and decide, well, I probably shouldn't do that. So my academic advisor at the time, we all get assigned like a general ac advisor before we declare a major. Mine at the time was an English teacher. And I grew up reading classics and whatnot, so I thought, oh, English would be great. Like, I get to read for school, that's it. I didn't come here to do school in the first place. I came here to commission and fly, so if I could just read and do that for school, that's perfect. Well, I didn't like my ac advisor, so I decided not to go with English, and instead moved to the curriculum handbook and started reading through that and saw this thing called humanities. And this was basically where I get to pick whatever classes I want that are all fuzzy and build my own major, which to me, thinking, oh, sick, I get to pick the fun courses again, and maybe it's not really like school. Well, then I realized I couldn't pick the ones I wanted, and my active advisor, the same one, was being annoying, so I decided to not go with that one either. Looked into military history, said, well, no offense to Dr. Gralution, but that's a little boring. And so I decided to put history aside, and somehow, I don't remember how, it's not a cool story, I discovered MSS. I don't remember how I ended up walking into the second floor of Fairchild into the department, but somehow I did. And I was greeted by Dr. Farquhar's kid. And I was told to go see Dr. Farquhar, and I'm looking at Captain Farquhar, and I'm thinking, how in the world do you have your doctor already? And so I'm all confused, I'm bouncing around, can't find my way, and then I see Dr. Burger's not here, unfortunately. Oh, there you are, I should have seen the gloss. But anyways, he calls me my nemesis for some reason, I wouldn't understand why. But found him, he got me hooked up with the department and made my way over to Dr. G. And that's how I discovered MSS. The reason why I chose MSS was because it was on the second floor. And I live in Squadron 7, which is on the second floor that way. It's about a 3-minute walk, so I could wake up late to class, run over, prepare on the way. So that's essentially why I chose the major. But after taking some of these courses, I also had Colonel Cutchin for a summer MSS class, because I got an ACRO freshman year, and he's just a baller, and he really helped me get into MSS. Maybe he's the reason why, actually. Anyways, what I discovered once I got into the major courses was that there is actual real purpose, and there is a lot of real learning and growth and development through this major. There's some stereotypes that go along with being an MSS kid. One of the biggest ones that I've personally experienced is most MSS majors are really passionate about being MSS majors. I have not met a management major who goes, yeah, management is awesome, except for the fact that it's easy. And I certainly haven't met any STEM majors, physics majors, or astro, who are just thrilled to the gills that they're that particular major. Never met one. But what makes MSS majors unique is that we didn't choose this because it was easy or because we thought it would be just pure fun. I'm going to go out on a limb here because there aren't any other majors in the room as far as I know, and say that some other people pick the majors because maybe that STEM major supports the job that they want to do. They want to be an engineer, and that makes sense, and I'm all for that. But then you get some others who hear that management is the easiest, and so they decide to go with management. Well, this major is sometimes called the military management, but what's unique about our cadets, I think, is that everyone wants to be an MSS major because they want to fight wars. And I believe that, and every cadet that I've interacted with who's an MSS major wants to do something operational, wants to fight wars. And so even though it's considered this easy major because, well, sometimes you might be able to skip some of the readings and still make it look like you pay attention sometimes. And because STEM people, they're very, very poor at writing papers, and they think that, oh, because the department doesn't have really long, excruciatingly painful finals, therefore it's easy. You set that aside and you realize that MSS can actually be really difficult, kind of to what Colonel Swain touched on and Dr. Burke in terms of that fighting back aspect. There is no right answer to any of the problems or papers or briefs that we give or write. And that makes it really fun and unique and challenging. So that's what I think is really unique about the cadets, is that everyone wants to be an MSS major and everyone's proud to be an MSS major. And I think that's really unique to this department. That is supported by the faculty. And I'm going to look at my 3 scribbles that I have on my paper here to make sure that I'm going in the right direction here. But that's supported by the faculty and their dedication to cadets. So let me just talk about the faculty for a second real quick. Most cadets will say, yeah, my teachers are great. They've helped me, they have extra instruction, they'll help me with my project, yada yada, super cool. I have not met many teachers, professors, instructors, whatever you want to call all these fine people, that will bring you over to their house while class is going on that semester and cook you food. And as a cadet who's always hungry, it's perfect. And so naturally then, I like them a lot more, which makes me want to work harder in their classes, which makes me more committed and engaged. Whereas on the other side, you take a core class, you take an engineering class, and the teacher's just droning on and on up there with a whiteboard, and you go, I don't really care about you. And it's real. I know most people don't say these things, but it's the truth. MSS professors care about the cadets. It's demonstrated. It's demonstrated by me texting Dr. Becerra at 1 a.m. one night saying, I got this paper for someone's class, I'm not gonna say who. I gotta get this done, I need some ideas. And for some reason, I don't think he sleeps much, and he responded right away to me and helped me out. And he's just one example of many. And 3-day year, I told myself I would never reach out to Dr. Becerra for help because he made me leave my backpack outside the classroom. But somehow I made it back, and he never noticed that about 3 lessons in, I started bringing it in anyways. But anyways, that's just an example of what the teachers will do for you. The amount of, I don't know what the right word is for this, but trust maybe that is shown between faculty and cadets and between faculty themselves is incredible. I don't know of many other majors that say, hey, you're not really interested in this particular class, but the registrar put you in it, and we all know about the registrar. Let me switch you over to this other class, and we'll just deal with it internally. We'll just kind of swap grades here. We'll make sure you're taken care of. It fits your schedule better, or you're doing research in a particular area and you need to move over here. Other departments don't do that. This department's flexible. They treat us like adults. They treat us like lieutenant selects, and that's super impactful. I have one of you, who shall not be named, but he's extremely loud, say in one of the classes, there was someone who may or may not have been dozing off in class. I don't know how you can doze off when, the volume is turned to max on this person. But he was dozing off somehow, and Dr. J, walked over, and he might have smacked the table or something, and said, hey man, if you're tired, go back to your room and take a nap. And he wasn't mocking him. He wasn't mocking him in the slightest. He said, you've got a crazy busy schedule, you've got stuff that's going on, whatever it is, you're exhausted right now, and obviously not paying attention, not that you need to, but not paying attention to class. Go take care of yourself and get yourself in a good place and make sure that you can take care of the other things you have to take care of. Everyone else here doesn't do that. That's crazy to me. That's crazy that he and the rest of you have done similar things. Say, hey, I trust you to go use your time in a valuable way. You know yourself best. You know your tasks and everything like that best. Go take care of that. Go be an adult. Go be a lieutenant. This school doesn't do that, but this major does. So that's what I really like about the faculty. I can talk about, they're knowledgeable, they've got a lot of warfighting experience, all the stats and everything, that's awesome. But on a person-to-person level, that's what really matters, and that's what really impacts the cadets on a day-to-day basis. So thank you to all of you. I'm not going to go through all of you, but thank you. Okay, last couple things. I thought about roasting a couple teachers maybe about how some of you have taught me different things, like Colonel Swaim's taught me to print my slides, and, Colonel Fuego Gospels taught me that I don't matter. But, it's neither here nor there. Anyways, that's about all I have. Normally I would say I'm going to open it up to questions, but I think I've exceeded my time, and so I'm going to turn it back over to who I refer to as Jack Ryan.
Do I need it? Well, I guess I need it. Jake, congratulations, you didn't screw up. You're going to graduate, so well done. With that, we're going to move into recognition for our graduate studies. As you can see from Jake today, I'm going to go off script real quick. Jake's a microcosm of the cadets we have. I think, Linus, are you the only one here? Is Daniil, Chris, or Mary, are you guys here? I don't think they're going to be here, and I've got a note about that. They're not. On these cadets complete a dual, these FAS MSS majors, they complete a dual academic degree program in foreign area studies and military and strategic studies major. They complete language specialization and regional specialization courses, and they also complete the MSS courses for a dual degree. These cadets did not attend, most of them. Linus was here, but the other cadets that we're going to recognize did not attend. They have a conflict with their own FAS name. Please come down to the stage to be recognized. Our first graduate school selection from the MSS department is Cadet First Class Maya Wirtz. International Security Studies. Congratulations, Maya. Select is Cadet First Class Michaela Compo. Come on down, Michaela. Also Sarah from the Greater Pittsburgh area. Also from the Greater Pittsburgh area, and also going to the Penn State School of International Affairs for a Master in International Affairs and a concentration in International Security. We are, congratulations, Michaela. Okay, please.
I'm gonna go up.
I got this. Go hi. We're Michaela's parents, her family. Okay. So a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I teach one of our classes. It's called Air Warfare Operations and Planning. For any of the flyers out there, it's kind of a weapons school, red flag type of course for cadets. And it alternates between an academic day and a flight simulator mission day, where very quickly they propel through flying. By lesson 20, they're doing very advanced large force exercise planning and engagement. Michaela comes to me about the third, fourth lesson. She says, "Oh, Colonel Slim, I am so frustrated. This is just not the course for me." And I said, "I bet I know your type. Did 4 years on admissions. I know the type. High performer, A's all through high school, very contractual learner. Show me what to study. I will learn it. I will learn it really good. Give me my A so I can go on to the next threat." And it was her first time in a class where everything depends, everything was moving, and make decisions, you're upside down. And she says, "I don't think I can do this course." I said, "Oh, trust me, you're doing great. Just hang on, you'll be fine." She's like, "I don't know about this flying, I don't plan to be a flyer, I'm interested in intel." Lesson 30, 35, we're sitting there on the radio, and we make some call, and I hear Michaela come on the radio, "Falcon 3-0, snap me to the threat, Fox 3 kill, bullseye 320, 15,000 track south." And I about fell out of my chair. Holy cow, that was like 30 something contact hours, and she sounds like a fighter pilot with 1,000 hours out there. And I have no worries about Michaela, she will tell anything she wants to do. So congrats to you.
Indeed, she will. Senior year, and we'll share maybe over a beer at some point over the course of the next couple of days if anybody's interested. Our last GSP selection.